thank you all for coming on in. I have the privilege of introducing you all to Susan Gibber from our Loudon Volunteer Caregivers. Actually, a few months ago, I had the privilege of listening to a speech and kind of getting to know a lot more about the program over there, and it's absolutely wonderful. So we were really excited to bring her here and to talk about some of the great things that they're doing in that organization. So I won't take up too much time. Susan, please come on out, come on. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. So back in 2009, I said it's time for me to go back to work after my kids in school. And since I had always worked in the nonprofit industry, I decided that I would continue to do that. I love helping people, and so I saw an opening at this organization called Loudon Volunteer Caregivers, which I had never heard before. But it sounded interesting. It sounded great. They helped elderly and disabled. So I went to apply and I started working there. Shortly after I began working there, my executive director at the time, he said, "You need to go to this meeting." And first was the Loudon Human Services Network, and then also the Loudon Senior Interests Network. So I started going to meetings with the LSI way back in 2009, and then it was kind of sort of in their own ways, but we keep interacting, and that's how it should be actually. The nonprofit world and the for-profit world, we serve the same people, and we really takes a community to keep our seniors happy and healthy and safe. So I love coming back. And I was telling you, I think the last time I spoke to the LSIM was probably back in 2015. So it's that time. I want to tell you a little bit about Loudon Volunteer Caregivers. So we just celebrated our 27th birthday in April. We started in 1995 in the church of the Episcopalian Church in Leesburg. A couple volunteers said, there's seniors who are asking for rides, and they started doing that. And it spread, and more people were coming and saying, "Hey, could you help me? Could you help me?" And so in 1995, so that was 1995. In 1995, with a grant from the Rockefeller Johnson Foundation, we became a 501c3. Since that time, we have expanded from a couple people being helped by a couple volunteers to we help about 350 individuals a year. We have about 200 volunteers who are active. We have close to 300 of our folks, but if you work with volunteers, you know that not everybody stays active. So it's a constant thing. People come, people go. Same with our care receivers. So the people we help, we call them care receivers. And our mission is to help them to remain living independently for as long as possible. So facilities like this are absolutely wonderful. And we actually do help individuals in facilities like this, but mostly with companionship, or they've moved from their home and now they're here and they want to continue the relationship that they have with a volunteer, or there might be something that they want to go to that a facility like this would not take them to. So we're kind of like that adjunct that we help fill in those niches. Let's see. My next one is my niche. Doing it again. There we go. Okay. Right. So we not only help the elderly, but we also help disabled folks and also people with chronic illness like cancer. We have a lot of cancer patients. 57 out of 350. That's a good amount. Thank you. We also help people with ALS and muscular, well, not muscular, but MS and other illnesses where they can't drive on their own. They need help. So we do a lot of different things. We are a 501c3, and all of our services are completely free. We do not charge anything. We do not have income requirements either. Can you hear me in the back?
Yeah.
That's okay, good. We don't have income requirements except for our money management program. And for that program, most of the people in that program are very, very low, 200% below poverty line. They live on about $700 a month that they get from the government. So with Section 8 housing and with our support, they are able to remain living independently. And then we do a lot of other services that help them to get food, to get companionship, to get to their doctors. So we have 3 main programs. Mostly what we used to do was pretty much just transportation. But since our early days, we've really expanded and we've added different programs. We have a supportive services program where we provide home food delivery from the food pantries to low-income folks who cannot get to the pantries themselves. So our volunteers will go twice a month and they will pick up either from the Dulles South Food Pantry.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We pick up from the Dulles South Food Pantry and also from Loudon Hunger. Loudon Hunger League is the biggest one in the county. We are very close partners with them, and in fact, Ellet Hunger Relief used to be Interfaith Relief, and we go way back. And then about 5 years ago, 6 years ago, we had the Dulles South Food Pantry so that we can help the south side of the county. We also work with other organizations as well. So we have also a short course program, and that is partnered with the Area Agency on Aging. They will identify homeowners or people who live in apartments that need help maintaining or repairing their homes in order to live, keep living there. So when you're 85 and you want to stay living in your home, which a lot of us do, but you can't get the boxes down from the closet, when it's summertime, you got to get your summer clothes out. That's what we do. We go in, or mowing your lawn, or weeding, or painting a room. So we have a chore corps. We have a group of volunteers who will do home repairs and maintenance. We also do respite care for full-time caregivers. So sometimes a full-time caregiver, is taking care of mom and dad, and they need a break. Or sometimes it's a younger parent whose spouse is dying from ALS. And we'll go in and give that husband or wife a break so they can spend time with their children, and they can take care of their home, and they can dinner, and they can have a little bit of life back. So we've done a lot of it. So our volunteers are the best people I know. Last year, we helped 313 people. So each year since I've been with the organization, we've grown 10%, except last year. During the pandemic, we lost a lot. So we had gone from 348 to 313. But we're back up to about 345 right now. And people are always coming into our group and needing our assistance, and that's what we do. We bring them in, and we drive 71,000 miles last year. Volunteers use their own cars, their own gas. They give their time 400 hours a lot. And we're hoping to celebrate our 30th anniversary in 2025. We had to miss our 25th, unfortunately, but we're still going. So, all right, let's see. So we do medical and non-medical transportation. So what we do sometimes is we have a spouse who's lesbian or white, has had to move to a memory care facility or assisted living or a nursing home, but they still live in their own home. They don't drive anymore. So we'll go pick them up, bring them for several hours, and then either that volunteer or another volunteer will come and pick them up and bring them home again. So we do a lot of, not a lot, but we do some of that. Short core, friendly calls, and we do. So with the pandemic, we started seeing that a lot of our seniors were increasingly isolated and experiencing anxiety, depression because of the isolation. So we started in April of 2020 making friendly calls. We started as check-in. We're calling everybody and saying, hey, how are you doing? Do you need anything? Because they weren't going out. Nobody was going out in 2020. And then a lot of them were like, could you call next week? Could you call tomorrow? So we had one woman, we called her twice a day. Yeah. She says she doesn't need the calls now, but I'm gonna check in and see how she's doing. But we made about 4,000 calls from April 2020 to April this year. We're still making calls, but not as much. People are starting to get out again. Now we're having this upswing in COVID cases, so we'll see what happens. But for now, we're still doing these check-in calls and these frequent calls. And we have a student caregiver program, which is sort of on hold. What we were doing was going into some of the big senior residents. So like if you're familiar with Madison House, Wingler House, Cascades Village, we used to have a once a month club where the kids, middle and high school kids would go in and we would bring in puzzles, we would bring in knitting and crocheting, and the kids would do the programs with the seniors. And then we would also hold like a Halloween costume party and Valentine's Day and Christmas parties and things like that. So we have not done that in 2 years, but we are hoping they can start again up in the fall, start up again. So that's what we call quality of life. We also do, and this year we are doing it again. We're holding our annual picnic, Receiver picnic at Algonquin Park. For some of our seniors and our disabled care receivers, this is the only real outing they do. Just there's nobody to take them out. So we rent a couple of this shelters over at Algonquin and we fried chicken and macaroni cheese and all the turnips. And our volunteers just love to, in fact, it started as the volunteer picnic, and they said, well, can't we bring care receivers? We're like, sure. And then it just turned around, and so now it's the care receiver picnic. So, and then our last program that I haven't mentioned yet is our money management program. So we do really help very low income seniors, and these, and not all seniors actually, most are not. I think 53% are seniors, but the average age is 54. And we help anybody who is 18 or over. So in this program, we have a lot of people who are in this program for a long time. What we do is provide representative paying services and also bill paying services. So a lot of people, most of the people in this program are mentally challenged or disabled. They need a representative payee to manage their finances so that they can continue living independently. And when I say independently, they may live in a group home, but they're not institutionalized. So with our help, we'll manage their, set them up on a budget, we pay their bills, we make sure that they have a little spending money, we even set up a savings account and try to, a lot of these people have never had a savings account in their life. So this helps them to remain independent. Talked about who we help. The way we bring people in, well, first they have to hear about it. So that's a lot of what I do and what my staff do. We go out and we're at fairs, we go talk to groups, and we go talk to doctors' offices and things like that to make sure people know that this resource, volunteer caregivers, you know about this, okay? So, and for a lot of your folks, we might be just the perfect adjunct to what you do. Well, you don't provide someone to come in and play games. I know some do, but some you don't. We might be able to find someone who can do that, or someone to come and rate their law, things like that. So, so we work with for-profit organizations. We work with a lot of nonprofit organizations as part of the Loudoun Human Services Network, which is the sister organization of this one. There are 57 organizations that we work with, a lot of them, especially the food and the disabled organizations like LEND and ECHO and things like that. And then we work with the government as well. So we work with the Department of Family Services, Department of Social Services. We work with Adult Protective Services. We are mandated reporters, so if we see something going on, we are obligated to report it. We do. And we work with the area of aging. So basically, we're really trying to be holistic in what we do. We want to make sure that we're helping our care receivers get all this help they need. And occasionally, I call up people in this group and say, "Hey, I got somebody who needs to go, and get more care that we can provide." So we do that. Again, no fee, no income level requirement except for the money management. You are fussy. Doesn't like me. Okay. So to become a volunteer, and we are always looking for volunteers. And we have a lot of organizations that, companies that come and say, we give our volunteers off one day a month or 4 days a year to volunteer. And sometimes they're looking for a day of service where it's a group thing that they do. Or they're saying, how can our volunteers help, give them off like 2 hours once a week or 1 day a month or whatever. We love businesses like that. We need volunteers. Always, always, always. That's our biggest number one need is volunteers. So if that's something that your organization does, I'm talking to you about that. We do background checks for everybody. If they're in the money management program and you're working with money, we're going to do an additional background check. We do references, and then we have a one-on-one orientation. And we sit down with them, we talk back and forth, and we want to make sure that this is a good fit because we're entrusting our care receivers with them, and we want to make sure that everybody's going to be safe and it's a good relationship. And then we try to build relationships. So we're going to try to find geographically, okay, if you're out of Hurstville, we're not going to, ask you to go out to Sterling, probably. I mean, unless we do have volunteers who do that, but on a general basis, we're going to try to find people in your area. We use an online database that our volunteers can log into and find the open assignments, and then they can choose them. And they can say, okay, I'll go up to Hillsborough and I'll help Mr. Jones. And we don't have minimum hours, but we do ask everybody to do at least one assignment a month. Now we do have volunteers who do 20 days, 20 we have a couple. That's what they do. They love doing that. They love the people they work with, and so we love them. It's a good relationship. It's fussy. And so what we do is called door-to-door transportation. So like a taxi company is curb to curb, we're door-to-door. So we'll go up to the apartment. This one I think is Lansdowne. this picture. We go up, we help them out. If someone's in a wheelchair, as long as they can get out of the wheelchair with assistance and get into the car, then we can transport them. If they are totally wheelchair dependent, if they are on dialysis, and we help several people with dialysis. If you know dialysis, it's a very big commitment, for the care receiver and for volunteers. It takes 4 hours each session and 3 hours, 3 sessions a week. And so we usually break that up. So that's a lot of resources for us. But if they're wheelchair dependent, then we actually pay for a kit. But we are planning, we were supposed to launch our wheelchair assisted transportation program in July 2020. That didn't happen. We are still waiting to launch it. We're hoping summer 2023. When we do, we will have our own specialized van that can handle a wheelchair plus some non-wheelchair adults as well. So it's in the works. We did a capital campaign. We raised the funds. We are waiting till it's safe. And right now, it's just not looking safe. So, but again, we can help with that. And we assist. Now, we're not going to ever carry anybody. We're not going to lift anybody. We don't do that. Okay. Our volunteers, they don't handle medications. Okay. We don't give out medical advice. We don't do personal care. We don't do bathing. We don't feed someone. If a volunteer wants to cook for somebody, we said, yeah, go ahead. But we don't do personal care at a lot of companies here. We are averaging at 98% success. That means when we get a request, we're filling 98% of the requests. Now we get about 600 requests a month for services. So, 98%. That's pretty good. And we're still, I guess I should change that bottom one to 2022. Oops, I went too far. All right, non-medical. So on the weekend, we encourage people during the week to make their non-medical transportation for the weekend, so that we can have our volunteers kind of reserved during the week to do those medical rides. We do take people though on Saturdays for dialysis, so that does happen. But on the weekends, we take people to get their hair done, to visit their spouses in assisted living facilities, to go shopping, things like that. And then we will take people shopping. Or we'll shop for them. So a lot of that happens on the weekends. If we take somebody and or we even just go and get the groceries, we bring them in, we carry them through, we help people through the work. We don't stop at the door. We did for a bit during the height of the pandemic. Just really we're trying to keep everybody safe. But we're back to kind of normal, we'll call it. One thing that we did back in early, I guess it was early 2021 when the vaccine came out, is we got all of our care receivers vaccinated. Working with the county, the fire and rescue department, they went and into homes and into the residences like this, like Woods, like Madison House, Cascade, and they did clinics right there, and got vaccinated and then also all of our volunteers as well. So all our volunteers were on the first wave of getting vaccinated, so that we continue helping people as we went along. So one of our for-profit partners is Timmy Health. I'm not sure if you know them, but they're in Loudoun County. They're also actually national, so I know their office is still in Texas. But they've been a great partner, and so we've done a couple of days of service with them. And they brought in a crew. This was 3 years ago, and they helped one of our homeowners. She's in a wheelchair now, but she you know, she wants to stay on her home. She has beautiful gardens with flowers and birds that come, and she's an artist. So if she were to move out of her home, she would have to give up her studio, she would have to stop her work. And so we try to keep her in her own home. So we redid her gardens, we redid her garage, and scraped it and painted it. And everybody had a good time, and it really was a wonderful, wonderful day. Talked about the Shore Corps. Again, we are happy to work with companies and organizations that are looking to do a day of service. So that's something that you're interested in, please let me know. I'm going to leave on that table, I've got a brochure, so if that's something that you're interested in or want to reach me, I'll also leave some business cards there too. Just get in touch with me and we'll set something up with your company and we'll get something set up. It'll be great. We find that the people who do this just get so much out of it. And volunteers in general. You know, what we hear from our volunteers is how much they get out of volunteering with the care centers and establishing those relationships. And sometimes, you know, we have a couple of volunteers who have been with us for almost 25 years, and they've been helping some of the same people for a long, long time. So they've established this relationship. We do, so it's kind of seasonal. A lot of the Shore Corps we do. Right now we're into mowing. In the fall we do leaf raking, in the winter snow shoveling, maybe snow, weeding, things like that. What we can't do is anything that requires a license. Okay, so we can't do plumbing, we can't do electrical, structural repairs, things like that, heavy lifting. But everything else we pretty much can do. Okay, and then, you know, if we can't do it, we can send the care receiver to a company that can. And that's something, again, we work with partners who do, you know, low cost construction for seniors, like building them right up. And this was at our picnic. But what we love most is the bonding that we get between our volunteers and our care receivers. And our staff. And I'm the executive director, but I have 5 staff. So we're a very small office, and we get to know our care receivers and our volunteers. And it makes for a very good relationship so that we can try to make it a good fit, the match. Food delivery. We do emergency deliveries too. I did one food delivery in South County. This family had moved in. I'm not sure if it was family or a friend. The parents were deaf. Young couple. Parents were deaf. The children were not. And they're living in they have a garage in the basement. And I went in, and the refrigerator was in the garage. And they had, you know, I got a call from Hunger Relief, and they said, we really need to get food to this family to do it. So I went and picked up food from there, and then I said, well, it looks like they need some more stuff. So I went to the grocery store and picked up some bread and some milk, because sometimes the food pantries don't have certain items, so I want to make sure. I got there, I had about 8 huge bags of food. I walked in to a refrigerator that had nothing. And the kids looked like I was Santa Claus bringing gifts. It still makes me emotional. It's hard. Some of it's hard to, you know, breaks your heart, but it makes you also feel good. It helps somebody. So let's see what else. We help with paperwork too. So, you know, someone going to the doctor's office, as long as they get permission, our volunteer can help fill out the forms. There's lots of forms and lots of times that these handshakes. So we'll have. That's enough. So as you can see, we really try to help do whatever is needed to keep a senior or a disabled adult to live independently for as long as possible. And that's what we do, and we love what we do. And we love our partnerships with the community, the business community, and just the community in general. And I'm happy to answer any questions. Yes.
You work with churches, local churches, you work with administration, you get any federal or state funding, and your volunteers get to write off knowledge of the taxes.
Okay, so let's see. Yes, we work with churches. We used to work a lot more closely with churches. We started back as a faith and action program, and we were very involved. We've sort of we have relationships with maybe about half a dozen churches, synagogues, and mosques, and also the Baha'i community as well. We are happy to work with any faith-based organization to meet the needs. We love it. It's wonderful because we're trying to accomplish the same things. We do not get federal or state funding. We do get our 2/3 of our funding through Loudoun County. So we are very grateful to the county for supporting us. They felt in 2018, they felt that what we do is so important that they designated us as one of 5 core service providers in the county. So that, along with the free clinic, Loudoun Hunger Relief, and then I think 1 or 2 others, we are a core service provider, because basically what we do is not done by the county, and they would, if we didn't do it, the county would have to do it. It would be a whole big thing. And 350 people would then probably have to find places to live. And as you probably all are very, very well aware, there are no beds for low-income seniors in Loudoun County, pretty much. The other 1/3 of our funding comes through private grants, so I do a lot of grant writing and donations. We do some fundraisers. We just had one at Topgolf. We hope that sometimes some of the businesses will remember us at the end of the year. We love that. And if there's something that the business says, you know, we're going to support charity, think about what we do. We're in the same line. We're the same people. So we appreciate that. Did I answer all your questions?
The volunteers get
Yeah. So what you need to do is get a logbook. Okay, and they're easy to pick up. They're at online. They're also at Office Depot and Staples, and you keep track of your miles when you're driving for volunteer. You can also do it for work too, if that's something you do. But for volunteering, it's not very much. Okay, it's 14 cents a mile or something around that. It's not very much. But I have volunteers who have driven 6,000 miles just with us. So, you know, if you volunteer a lot, and a lot of our volunteers do that, and you keep track of your miles, then yes, it does help, and you can write it off. Yeah. Is there a question back there? Yes. The answer, okay. Any other questions? Well, I am always happy to take your call, to answer your questions, to come and speak, you know, if you have something going on. Yes. Where are your main offices? So our main office is in Leesburg. We're on South King Street. It's a small office. Basically, we are a service organization that just coordinate the intakes and the requests with volunteers who take them. We make sure that everybody's safe and everything's getting done when it needs to get done, and lots of reporting back to everybody. And so it's a very small office, but you're welcome to stop by. We're next door to Food Lion on South Street. Yes.
your phone number again?
Our phone number is.
For the service.
What's that?
For the service.
Yes, 703-779-86 And if you go online to us, you can also click, you can contact us through online on our website, which is ldcaregivers.org. And I'm going to leave some of my brochures there, some of my business cards. So please feel free to reach out. Any other questions?
Or raise your hands if you're one of the virtual. I'll do the virtual teams first for the announcements at the very end.
Well, thank you so much, Susan. So thank you for doing such a very great job. Announcements. Hi, can I get your attention? Not quite done yet. But thank you, Susan, so much. A very important topic for so many people that you do help. I'm very excited personally to know about the home repair services. That was something I didn't realize. Could use that myself. So well, some of you know I was out last week with someone staying at our house with the towel rack off the wall, so we can fix that later. Oh my. But minor repair services. But thank you so much. But I would like to introduce also the Senior Interest Network. It is a nonprofit board.
Can I get your attention, please?
We're not quite done yet, but I do want to introduce our board that does help to put on all of the programs. One is Peggy, as many of you know, Andy Riley, Amy Copa, Susie Serene, Jessica Ford, who I think is my lovely supervisor, Heather Price, Betsy Sue Scott, our legal counsel, Steve Moss is our financial.